The lie of housing affordability, why people don't want starter homes. Everyone believes housing is unaffordable. The media screams about a housing crisis every single day. Politicians promise solutions they'll never deliver. And millions of us accept this lie without question. But here's what nobody wants to admit. Housing isn't unaffordable. We just don't want starter homes anymore. This is the hard truth that's about to change everything you believe about real estate. Welcome to Luxona, where we cut through the noise. Let's start with a simple question. When your parents bought their first house, what did it look like? Probably small, maybe outdated, definitely not Instagram-worthy, but they bought it anyway because they understood something we've forgotten. You don't start at the top. You start where you can afford. Then you build from there. But today's generation expects their first home to be their dream home. We want granite countertops. We want open floor plans. We want smart home technology. We want walk-in closets. We want perfect neighborhoods. We want the house our parents took 30 years to afford. And when we can't get it, we blame the system. Here's the reality check nobody's giving you. Affordable houses still exist. They're just not the houses you want. Let me show you the math that proves this. The median home price in America is around $500,000. That sounds terrifying, right? But that's not the whole story. Here's what nobody tells you about housing prices. Yes, the median house in America is $450,000 to $500,000. But that's the median. That includes million-dollar mansions skewing the numbers. When I researched Tampa and St. Pete markets, some of the hottest in the US, I found over 100 houses between $200,000 and $250,000. In desirable areas, not in the middle of nowhere, not in dangerous neighborhoods. Houses people actually want to live in. Below $150,000, yeah, those houses suck. But at $200,000 to $250,000, you can find livable homes. Dave Ramsey says, don't spend more than 25% of your take-home pay on housing. A $200,000 house costs about $1,200 to $1,500 a month total. That's doable on a decent income. But here's the real problem. Nobody wants those houses because they're not Instagram-worthy. They're afraid of being judged. They want the brand new construction. They want all the amenities. They want everything perfect. But beggars can't be choosers. If you don't make that much money, you can't afford the dream house. Period. You don't have to move to Detroit for affordable housing. You don't have to live in the middle of nowhere. You can find starter homes in hot markets like Tampa and St. Pete, but they won't be perfect. And that's exactly the point. Our grandparents moved wherever work was available. They adapted. They sacrificed. They built their wealth slowly, deliberately. They understood that comfort comes after success, not before. But we want everything now, in the exact city we prefer, with the exact amenities we demand, in the exact neighborhood that impresses our friends. Let's break down what affordable housing actually looks like. A $200,000 house with a 10% down payment. That's $20,000 down. With a 7% interest rate, your monthly payment is about $1,200. Add insurance and taxes, you're looking at $1,600 total. That's absolutely manageable on a $60,000 household income. But we don't want that house. Because it's not perfect. Because it needs work. Because it doesn't match our social media expectations. Because we can't post it on Instagram. Now let's be clear about something. Renting isn't inherently bad. In many places right now, renting costs 50% less than buying. The rent versus buy debate isn't really financial, it's lifestyle. People go back and forth asking, should I rent or buy? Like there's one right answer, there isn't. It depends on where you're looking and what you value. In some markets, renting makes perfect financial sense. The problem is, most people don't invest the difference. They just spend it on lifestyle inflation. That's why ownership works for most people. When they retire, they can at least downsize or tap that equity. Because let's be honest, most people won't discipline themselves to invest monthly, but a mortgage forces them to build wealth automatically. Here's where the law of attraction comes into play. When we constantly focus on what we can't afford, we attract more scarcity. When we obsess over problems, we create more problems. When we speak poverty, we create poverty. But when we shift our mindset to opportunity, everything changes. Instead of saying, "I can't afford a house," try, "I haven't found the right house yet." Instead of, "Housing is too expensive," try, "I'm building toward my ideal home." Instead of, "The system is rigged," try, "I'm learning the system." The words we use literally reshape our reality. And right now, most of us are programming ourselves for failure. Let's talk about the real housing crisis. It's not that houses don't exist. It's that we've been conditioned to want more than we need. The media profits from our anxiety. Real estate agents profit from our unrealistic expectations. Influencers profit from our dissatisfaction. Everyone benefits when we believe housing is impossible, except us. But here's what happens when you start small. You build equity. But here's the truth about equity. It's not your money, it's still the bank's money. You have to pay it back with interest. This is why banks love equity loans. They make money off your so-called wealth. Don't fall for that bullshit. Your house is a depreciating asset. The land underneath it appreciates. That's why a 600 square foot shitbox sells for $1 million. It's not the house, it's the location. Focus on investing in the market, not pulling equity from your home. Let me tell you my own story. I was renting in South Tampa, $1,700 a month. Right on the water, all the amenities, the lifestyle everyone dreams about. But one day, I sat back and realized something. I was stressed. I could afford it, but did I want to afford it? Hell no. So I moved to St. Petersburg, found rent for $1,000 a month, 1 mile from downtown, in one of the most sought-after neighborhoods. The median house price there? $850,000. If I bought in that neighborhood, my mortgage would be $6,000 a month minimum. But here's the kicker. My neighbor bought his house after the 2008 crash. 615 square feet. 1920s house that nobody wanted. Paid $70,000 cash. Now it's appraised at $650,000. That's the power of starting where others won't. This is what starting small actually creates. Options, freedom, momentum, knowledge, confidence. But it requires something most people won't give. The willingness to be uncomfortable temporarily, the courage to live below your image, the discipline to build instead of consuming, the patience to play the long game. Here's another hard truth about housing affordability. Our parents didn't have student loan debt eating their income. They didn't have car payments of $800 a month. They didn't spend $400 monthly on streaming services and food delivery. They didn't finance everything they owned. They lived differently, and they built wealth differently. So when we compare housing costs to income, we're ignoring the bigger picture. Our parents had more disposable income because they spent less on everything else. They bought cars with cash. They cooked at home. They lived within their means. They prioritized ownership over lifestyle. But we finance everything. Then wonder why we can't afford a house. We lease cars we can't afford. We eat out 5 times a week. We subscribe to everything. We buy clothes we wear once. We prioritize looking successful over being successful. The solution isn't cheaper houses. It's changing how we manage money. If you want deeper strategies on exactly how to restructure your finances for real estate success, click the link in the description. The Vault is where we go all in on wealth-building systems that actually work. Because this isn't just about buying a house. This is about breaking the scarcity programming that keeps most people poor. This is about understanding that wealth is a mindset before it's a bank account. Let's address the elephant in the room. But I can't find a job in those affordable cities. Here's what changed in the last 5 years. Remote work, freelancing platforms, online businesses, digital entrepreneurship, consulting opportunities. The internet has made location irrelevant for many careers. But we're still thinking like it's 1990. We're still limiting ourselves to traditional employment in expensive cities, instead of creating income streams that work from anywhere, instead of building skills that travel, instead of becoming location independent. This is the mindset shift that separates wealth builders from wealth wishers. Wealth builders adapt to opportunity. Wealth wishers wait for opportunity to adapt to them. So don't let anyone shame you for renting. Don't let anyone shame you for buying either. Both can be smart financial moves. The key is being intentional about your choice. If you rent, invest the difference. If you buy, don't treat your house like an ATM. Either way, you can build wealth. Just pick the path that matches your discipline and lifestyle. Here's what the housing crisis really reveals. We've lost the ability to delay gratification. We want the end result without the process. We want the mansion without the starter home. We want the equity without the investment. We want the wealth without the sacrifice. We want the lifestyle without the work. But wealth building doesn't work that way. It never has. It never will. Every millionaire you admire started somewhere uncomfortable, somewhere imperfect, somewhere they didn't want to stay forever, somewhere their friends questioned their decisions. But they started. And starting is the only way to finish. So here's your choice. You can keep believing the lie that housing is unaffordable. You can keep waiting for prices to crash. You can keep blaming the system. You can keep making excuses. Or you can get uncomfortable. Buy the house you can afford now. Build equity while others build excuses. Learn the game while others complain about the rules. And use that foundation to create the life you actually want. The difference between renters and owners isn't income. It's mindset. It's willingness to start imperfectly. It's understanding that every expert was once a beginner. Owners understand that perfect is the enemy of good. Renters wait for perfect and end up with nothing. Which one describes you? Because your answer determines your financial future. Your answer determines whether you build wealth or build debt. Your answer determines whether you own your future or rent it. The housing market isn't broken. Your expectations are. Your timeline is. Your understanding of wealth building is. And once you fix that, everything else becomes possible. This is how we think at Luxona. We don't wait for the world to change. We change how we interact with the world. We don't complain about problems. We create solutions. We don't make excuses. We make moves. We don't wait for perfect conditions. We create perfect strategies. Because at the end of the day, housing affordability isn't about the market. It's about you. Your willingness to start small. Your ability to see opportunity where others see obstacles. Your courage to build wealth instead of building complaints. Your discipline to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term freedom. That's what separates those who own from those who rent. That's what separates those who build wealth from those who build debt. That's what separates Luxonians from everyone else. The truth about housing is simple. It's available if you're willing to start where you are, with what you have, in the place that makes financial sense. Not emotional sense, not social sense. Financial sense, because emotions keep you poor. Logic makes you rich. And the logic is clear. Stop waiting for perfect. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming everyone else. Start building. Start where you can afford. Start now. Welcome to Luxona, where millionaires are made.